Hello everyone, Charles Watts here. Welcome back to Inside Arsenal. It is Tuesday. I hope the day is going well wherever you're watching or listening to this around the world. As always, thank you very much for joining me and being here. I really do appreciate it. And the good news just keeps on coming, doesn't it? Still basking in the glow of what was a lovely, lovely weekend football-wise. And now there's a certain William Saliba who has signed a new contract. Confirmation coming through this morning from Arsenal. Done deal, confirmed. We've seen the signing pictures. We've got the quotes. William Saliba is here to stay. 5-year deal for one of the best centre-backs, young centre-backs in the world, if not the best young centre-back in the world. Just huge news, massive news. So we're going to talk about that, of course, in today's show. Look at what William Saliba's had to say about his new deal. I'll give my thoughts on that and why I think this is just such a monumental deal on so many levels for Arsenal Football Club. We'll look ahead to tomorrow's game against Olympiacos. Mikel Arteta is doing a press conference a little bit later on today. There's open training as well at London Colney. And I believe William Saliba will be doing a press conference with Mikel Arteta as well. So plenty for him to talk about today, of course. So we'll look at that, some of the decisions facing Mikel Arteta. Got a few comments and questions from you guys sort of centering around that as well in terms of who might well start that game. So plenty to talk about. Even going to talk about Fabio Vieira. He's had an eventful weekend, shall we say, over in Germany as well. But there's only one place to start today, and that is the news that William Saliba has signed his new contract. There he is, all smiles, signing that deal with Mikel Arteta and Arteta Berta sitting right by him. So this is what William Saliba, or some of what William Saliba has had to say upon signing his new 5-year deal with Arsenal. He says, I feel proud of myself because I first signed in 2019 and now it's 2025. I'm still here to extend my contract, so I'm so happy. I feel at home. We have a good team, good squad. We have good staff. The coach is perfect for me, so it's the best place to be. I enjoy every day when I have the chance to wear this shirt. I try to give it everything, and now I'll give it even more to this club and to the fans. It's mad that when you think he says signed in 2019, this contract runs until 2030. If, and of course it's a big if in football, but if he stays and sees out that contract, which will take him to 29 years old, I think, he'd have been here 10 years. He'd have qualified for a testimonial. William Saliba. It doesn't happen very often. So it's just massive. It's massive on so many levels, as I said at the start. But, you know, take out the fact that he's just a wonderful young centre-back and he's been so integral to this Arsenal team since he's come into the side. I think the message this sends out to the rest of the football world about where Arsenal are right now is just arguably the biggest thing of the lot. You know, how many years did we have to go through of Arsenal losing their best players? You just start getting a good team together, you get some good players in, and then bang, they get cherry picked and they've gone and you're back to square one. The fact that this is not happening anymore is just so massive for Arsenal. The fact that someone like William Saliba, which every single top club in the world would want, has signed and committed his best years to stay at Arsenal. It just speaks volumes about how the club is viewed, what it's like, how the manager is viewed. You know, it's just on so many levels, it's such a big deal for Arsenal. You know, we've had so many renewals before, brilliant renewals that I've been so excited about. You know, Gabriel, I think, is probably arguably the more important of the two right now in terms of quality and what they're bringing on the pitch. And I think Saliba will probably say that if you asked him that question as well. But just the message that it sends out that Saliba, who we know Real Madrid were doing all their usual stuff to try and get, but the fact he said no to that, he doesn't want it and he wanted to stay and he always wanted to stay at Arsenal. I just think it's so big on so many levels. This, of all of the renewals, this one is the biggest for that. I mean, in terms of what the message it sends out to everyone, it's just absolutely fantastic. He's carried on and he's been talking about sort of the start to life at Arsenal when it was, you know, difficult when he first signed, when he was sent out on loan, when he had to wait for his chance and all that. He said, I'm proud of my journey. I never gave up, even in the tough moments. Of course, I wanted to play straight away, but I didn't expect that it would be as good as it was. I played well. We almost won the league the first season, almost won the league the season after that. I'm happy now, but not 100% happy because we have to do more. We have to win titles because it's what we want. It's what the club wants. The boss is one of the best coaches in the world. He has helped me a lot, him and his staff. I'm so happy to have them as my coaches. I'm 24 now, and I think I haven't reached my peak. I have a lot of things to improve, a lot of things to give to the team, And I know that the coach and the staff will help me become the best or one of the best defenders in the world and to win trophies. And that's what it's all about now for these players, for someone like Saliba, is to win trophies because they're good enough to. The team's good enough to. We know that. They've been so close in the past. Now they just need to get themselves over the line. But the fact that they're staying, they all want to stay. They all want to do it here. They don't want to go anywhere else and do it. They want to do it here. It's so important. It's so important. And just the core of the group are all signed up now. Everyone's signed up, barring Saka, who, I fully expect to follow William Saliba's lead. The noises about Saka have been good for a while now. So I'm not expecting any issues there. He might be the last, but I'm still not concerned. Saliba was the one I was more concerned about, I have to say, just because of what was going on with Real Madrid. I don't have those same concerns with Saka. I just think that's going to happen. And now it's about this squad doing what they need to do, doing what they deserve to do, and that is win trophies together. You look at Gabriel and Saliba, in my view, the best centre-back partnership in the world. It's not even a debate, in my view. They are just the best centre-back partnership in the world, by a distance as well, I think. They deserve to win titles together. They deserve to win it in this kit, in the red and white kit. Hopefully they can, because it would be such a shame if they don't, but I really think they will. And yeah, it's just brilliant news, absolutely brilliant news. So let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. How happy are you? How big a deal do you think this is for Arsenal? Let me know your thoughts on it all in the comments below. This is what Arteta Berta had to say about the new deal. Says, we're so happy William has committed his future to be part of us and what we're building here. In his last 3 seasons, William has become an incredible defender whose composure, intelligence and physical presence make him one of the best in the world. He will continue to develop with Arsenal to reach new heights. His consistency, maturity and ability to influence matches will continue to be a big asset for us. We're looking forward to many great performances from him in the heart of our defence. Arteta said, William is loved by all the players and staff. That speaks volumes about his character, commitment and attitude every day. Since joining us, William has grown so much, embraced responsibility and has created a strong connection with our supporters and everyone at the club. We know there is still much to come from him and will continue to work together to keep improving with clear ambition of winning major trophies. He's 24 years old, Saliba. I mean, when they're saying that there's much more to come from him, and he said it himself, he still believes Arteta and the coaches will turn him into one of the best defenders in the world. He's already one of the best defenders in the world. But you think he's nowhere near his peak yet. That's the most exciting prospect here of having William Saliba for at least the next 5 years, is that he's just going to get better. I mean, how good a prospect is that? How exciting a prospect is that? We know how good he is already, but he's going to get better. And that's just a brilliant thing to think about. So congratulations, William Saliba, and congratulations to all of us, because this is brilliant news. It's what we all wanted. So yeah, a great Tuesday. Right, let's talk about Olympiacos now tomorrow night in the Champions League, because it is a big game for Arsenal. They're going into it on the back of the win over in Bilbao as well. So that's a fantastic start to the Champions League campaign. They need to build on that now against Olympiacos side, who I think I should have double checked this before I came on, but I'm pretty sure they've won their last 3 games at the Emirates, 2 in the Europa League and 1 in the Champions League. Pretty sure that is the case. We've got some miserable recent memories against Olympiacos at home. Do quite well away, but do awful at home. But this is obviously a very different Arsenal team. But it'd be so important for them just to back up that win against Bilbao to go 6 points from 6 to start the Champions League campaign. It'll be huge. And I'm really interested in terms of what Mikel's going to do. Obviously, he's going to be speaking out about it in a press conference a little bit later on, about what he's going to do team selection wise, what sort of changes he might make. He's not going to make loads, but he might make some. I think he'll make a couple. And it'll be interesting in terms of these two on the screen right now, Ethan Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly, in terms of what Arteta does. Actually, I had a couple of questions. I'm just going to bring this one up. Here we go. There, Connor says, hi, Charles. A question for tomorrow's show, perhaps. What are your thoughts on Nwaneri not making the bench at Newcastle? Surely there was a minor injury or something rather than being left out for Dowman. I know they're different positions, but your call of Nwaneri going on loan in January may well come true if Arteta views Eze and Odegaard as the 2 attacking options for midfield. Yeah, it was interesting because I don't think there was an injury, I have to say. I've not heard there was an injury. I think it was just a call that he was left out. I think when you look at the substitutes that Arsenal had, I think that Arteta and the coaching staff would have looked at it and thought, right, we've got Odegaard on the bench, we've got Marino on the bench. Obviously, I had Eze on the pitch. And they didn't have an out-and-out right wing option because of Madueke's injury, and they wanted one. they wanted an option if they needed it to bring on in that second half against Newcastle. I think that's why they probably went with Dowman rather than Ethan. I can't imagine Ethan would have been too happy with that decision. Unfortunately, the squad Arsenal have now, don't you think this is before Madueke is back, before Havertz is back, before Jesus is back. So it's only going to get tougher for some of these players. And a lot of good players are going to be left out. Not every week, but I think Arteta is going to have to be changing it every single week in terms of who gets left out. Like one week it was Dowman, then he comes back, then it was Ethan. I imagine Ethan will come back in now. Someone else gets left out. I just think that's going to be the case. It has to be the case because not everyone can be in the squad at the moment because the squad is just so big that on a match day, players are going to be disappointed. I absolutely want to see Ethan come back in for this Olympiacos game. Aaron got in touch, said, looking forward to Olympiacos. What do you think Arteta will do? Just rotate 2 or 3 players or play most of the fringe players? Norgard, MLS, Nwaneri, Kepa, Martinelli. I personally think B team should be more enough to beat them, and we should keep all players involved and happy and not overload our regular starters. Arteta is not going to make wholesale changes for this. Absolutely no chance. He just won't do it in the Champions League, especially not the second game. He knows how important this game is and getting off to a good start in this competition. There's no way he's going to play like, Kepa won't be in goal. I'd be stunned. It will be Raya in goal. He'll go strong. I think there'll be a couple of changes. Maybe Ben White comes in. Maybe the fullbacks get a change. Again, I've said it a few times this season. It hasn't happened yet. Like I expect Calafiori to get a rest and Lewis Skelly to come in. But those positions wouldn't surprise me. And then maybe, I don't know about Odegaard. I don't know if Odegaard will play in this game or start this game because he only came on with 10 minutes to go at Newcastle, even though Arsenal were losing for a long time in that second half, which suggested to me that he was only borderline fit. They didn't throw him on with half an hour to go or 35 minutes to go. They only did it when there was 10 minutes to go. It made a massive difference, huge difference. But just the fact they left it that late made me think that they were a little bit concerned about just how fit he was. So maybe this will still be a bit too early for him. He might get half an hour, for example, in this game. I'd like to see Ethan start. I have to say, it would be nice to see him start on this one, but I don't think there'll be many more changes on it. That I cannot see a way all the fringe players, as you say there, Aaron, come in. That's just not how Arteta operates. So I think there'll be a couple of changes, maybe 2, maximum 3, but it will be a very, very strong team for the game. He's not gonna go lightly for this one. There was a couple of questions here on Odegaard, which were quite interesting. Like Gunnar Greg's got in touch and says, "Hi Charles, do you think that one of the next 2 games are ones we could see both Eza and Odegaard start together? If so, who of Rice and Zubamendi would sit?" And KB says, "What do you think about Odegaard playing deeper? Was that a glimpse into what we will do in future games when we are chasing a win?" I love the idea. I love the idea of Odegaard playing deeper at times and then having Eza ahead of him in the sort of more central role. And I think that's entirely possible chasing games. I don't really see it from the start. I'm just not sure Arteta is that type of manager to do that from the start. Maybe occasionally we could see it. I think Odegaard can play that deeper role. We've seen him as he's getting older. He seems to be more and more comfortable dropping deeper and deeper and deeper and playing in that sort of deep lying playmaker role. So I absolutely think he could do it. I think in game, especially if Arsenal are chasing games like at the weekend, suddenly you can bring him on. You can have him and Eza on the pitch together in a central position. If you're chasing games, you don't need Rice and Zubamendi on the pitch at the same time. You can just take Zubamendi off, play Rice deeper. Like we saw at Newcastle. I think that is definitely a blueprint of what Arsenal can do. And then you can have a left winger on the pitch as well. And that's, really, really attacking from Arsenal and creative as well in the central areas. So I would like to see them play together. I'm just not sure we're going to see them start together in answer to your question, Greg. I still think that is probably more of an in-game change rather than a starting thought when it comes to Mikel Arteta. And if so, I think if you're playing those two, I think as we saw at Newcastle, when in that second half, when they did get through, it was so important having Rice there and his ability to get back and to use that energy levels, even at the end of games when he's knackered, to get back and block shots like he did when he tracked, I think, was it Elanga or someone went through late on and it was Rice with that sort of lung bursting run to get back and to block, which makes me think if you're going to play Eze and Odegaard together, it's probably better to have Rice there than Zubamendi behind, just to be able to cover a little bit more. and with those energy levels that he's got. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how often we see that this season. But it's definitely something that we could use and utilize more, I think, especially chasing games, because it can give Arsenal the opportunity to get as many attacking players on the pitch as possible. And that can only be a good thing when you're chasing a game. So thank you very much for that. Let me know your thoughts as well. I'll do the preview show in the morning tomorrow, give my predicted 11, all that sort of stuff. So let me know your thoughts on what you would do for tomorrow's game against Olympiacos. Who starts? What's your starting 11? You know, why? Give me your thoughts. I'll pull them together, some of them together as always, and get them included in tomorrow's show. Right, let's talk about Fabio Vieira briefly, shall we? Eventful weekend for Fabio, shall we say, over in Germany. Got himself sent off in the last minute of Hamburg's game against Union Berlin, I think it was. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see why he got sent off. I actually think it's a bit harsh. When you see it in real time, I think it's a little bit harsh. It's one of those ones where he kind of, you know, he was going for the ball. I didn't think he really saw the guy come in. And then it's a bit of a sort of high foot. It doesn't get the guy in the face. I'm not sure it's a send off. But the thing is, though, he actually injured himself doing it. So although he's suspended now for, I'm not sure, 2 or 3 games, whatever it is over in Germany, there was an initial fear that he'd actually suffered quite a bad knee injury. He had to get carried or helped off the pitch. Again, you can see it on YouTube. And there was initial fear, looking at some of the reporting in Germany and from around Hamburg, that he'd actually suffered quite a bad injury doing it. Now, it seems from the reports now and the initial scans that have been taken that it isn't that bad and that he won't be out for too long. Whether he'll still end up being out longer through the injury now than he will be from the suspension, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully it's nothing that does keep him out for a while, because he's had a really good start. He actually had a lovely volley in this game against Union Berlin that went just wide. Had it gone in, it would have been an absolutely beautiful goal. But he's had a good start to life at Hamburg. Fabio Vieira, he's impressing over there. The fans like him. He's already got himself at least 1 assist, but he's playing well. And so it would be a real shame if he did sort of have any sort of injury now that keeps him on the sidelines and kind of stifles the sort of early development that he's showing over there. Because look, for Arsenal, you want him to play well and you want him to really almost make it impossible for Hamburg not to sign him at the end. And even if it is that Hamburg can't sign him, because it would be a club record signing if they were to do it, that he impresses so much over there that even if he doesn't sign, someone else comes in and sort of hits Arsenal with a number that they want to try and sell Fabio Vieira, because he's a sellable asset and he's a player that you want to get some decent money for, because he's a talented player. So fingers crossed it's not too bad on this injury. Certainly the initial signs are after the first scan anyway, that it's not too bad and he won't be out for too long. So yeah, we'll see what happens on that. But that is it for me today, everyone. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. It is Saliba Day, so I hope you're having a good one. I'm sure you are. As always, let me know your thoughts, any questions, comments, anything you've agreed with, disagreed with on this show. Get down into the comments. Let me know. I'll pull some of them together and get them included in tomorrow's show. Until then, have a good one. Speak to you soon. Bye-bye.